Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Bill Spencer, Senior Director for Microsoft Teams Engineering, and I'm excited today to have Kelly Feely and Marty Scholes presenting the DocuSign integration with Microsoft Teams. Take it away, Kelly.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bill. And hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today to talk about how to collaborate on agreements faster with DocuSign and Microsoft Teams. My name is Kelly Feely, and I am the Global Business Director for DocuSign's Microsoft partnership. And I'm accompanied by my two stellar colleagues, Marty Scholes and Tony Ramatar. And while we're at it, feel free to jot down our names and our emails in case you'd like to reach out and connect, and we'll pull this back at the very end for Q&A. So today we were planning to go over DocuSign's joint partnership with Microsoft, some of the industry challenges that we're seeing in the market, and then Marty's going to show us a fantastic demo of our DocuSign e-signature for Teams app. And then finally, we'll round it out with some Q&A with myself, Marty, and Tony. So feel free to submit your questions as we go. All right, so to kick us off, I wanted to take a few minutes to speak to the fantastic relationship DocuSign has with Microsoft. And as customers and partners of each other, we recognize that the only way to move forward is to innovate how we work. And from evolving sales processes or where customer data lives or what insights it can provide to even to how we communicate. And our expanded partnership announced last July underlies this even further. And as a DocuSign Microsoft preferred solution, DocuSign integrates seamlessly with multiple Microsoft technologies, and that's across Office 365, Dynamics 365, and Power Platform. And we're developing all of our products to integrate these processes across platforms on an even deeper level to provide you and your customers even more value, plus accelerating their digital transformation. So we have a ton of exciting things going on together, enabling organizations to automate manual processes, to streamline complex workflows that they encounter, and get agreements done faster, all inside Microsoft apps. So I wanted to set the scene of some of the industry challenges we're seeing in the market. And with more workers moving to remote work, there are some common issues that have arisen. Namely, how can employees continue collaborating productively in remote and hybrid work environments? What solutions work well together to maximize ROI and respond to those challenges? And then how can we provide secure, reliable access to remote employees from anywhere? Now, the more time spent manually moving or rekeying data from system to system or toggling between applications to accomplish tasks can really add up. And one of the simple ways to alleviate this time sink is to integrate systems and enable automation, removing all of that manual processes wherever possible. And that's why we're super excited to share with you DocuSign e-signature for Microsoft Teams. Now, back in November, we delivered additional exciting enhancements to DocuSign's e-signature for Teams integration. And this further enables users to manage every single step of the agreement process natively within Teams. So now they can send and sign agreements from virtually anywhere. And users can now send and sign those agreements natively without ever leaving Teams, where previously they would have to hop out of Teams, go to the DocuSign platform, and complete that sending and signing workflow. Customers can also stay up to date. So with DocuSign e-signature for Teams, users receive real-time notifications on contracts and forms in the tool where they are already collaborating. And those completion of agreements are accelerated and they'll see productivity boosted. The final piece is around kicking off approval workflows. And the approvals app that Microsoft has built in Teams allows you to create and manage and share approvals. Plus, you can initiate a DocuSign e-signature workflow when an approval requires a signature. And then you can keep track of all of your approval requests in one central organized view. Now, here is just a snapshot of how you can use DocuSign e-signature and Microsoft Teams together. And whether you're in a regulated industry like financial services and public sector, or you could be in lines of business like sales and HR, DocuSign at its very core has robust and comprehensive capabilities to provide critical support during that entire agreement process. And we can't forget how important it is to keep all of your agreements secure. And DocuSign e-signature includes an electronic record that serves as an audit trail and a proof of the transaction. It also helps you meet some of the most stringent security standards and uses the strongest data encryption technologies available. Now, most of you know that e-signature is at the core of what DocuSign does, but there's actually a bunch of stuff that's happening before and after the signature where Microsoft apps come into play. And I want to walk you through a typical workflow. And each step along the way uses a Microsoft product, and our integrations can help customers automate and streamline the agreement process end to end. So let's take an example. We have a sales contract, and at Tally Solar, they create a draft contract for approval that's generated in Word, and then it's stored in SharePoint. So once the internal stakeholders have approved the generated document, it is then finalized and routed for internal signatures and customer signatures. Now, they may use DocuSign's integration with Teams, we sure would hope so, to drive the internal approval process and have the contract natively sent and signed right within Teams for a much faster and simpler experience. And then once the agreement is signed and the agreement data is written into a system of record like Dynamics or SharePoint, all of those concerned parties are notified, and downstream systems like order management are kicked off using Power Platform. Now, instead of me just talking through it all, we've got Marty here, who is our demo extraordinaire. So I'll pass it over to you, Marty, to show us the demo.
Terrific, Kelly. Thank you so much. Suppose I'm at some company and I want to, I've got a document and I want to do something with it with regard to a signature, an electronic signature, well, even a manual signature. There's a lot you could do. You could print it, you could sign it, you could fax it, you could scan it. But let's talk about electronic signatures. Right now, without an integration, if I'm operating in a Microsoft ecosystem, such as SharePoint, then I've got relatively few options for quickly and easily getting a signature on a document. Whether it's my signature or I want to send it to somebody else for a signature, however it works out, it's a matter of shuffling the files back and forth and trying to keep track of everything. Well, what Tony's team has done is they've put together a set of facilities to make that process more streamlined, not only for taking a document and sending it for signature, but also for being notified when you have a signature request coming to you. You see, we're finding that more and more people want to spend time in fewer applications. We've all got hundreds of applications we work with, and some we're very familiar with, and the rest maybe not so much. So we wanted to make sure that people could stay in the applications where they're comfortable. And let me jump in and say, if you have any questions, please jump in and ask. Try to get them answered in real time. But let's take an example here. This is an MSA that I downloaded off the internet. It's fairly generic. And suppose I've got this and I want to sign it myself. I don't want to send it to somebody necessarily. I just want to sign it myself for whatever reason. Somebody sent me something, whatever the reason is, I want to sign it. All I have to do here in SharePoint is come down here, click on the three dots, come down here to sign with DocuSign. Literally, that's it. I'll click that, and it'll go ahead and pop me into a signing experience within DocuSign. I'll go ahead and log in to connect the account here. I have multiple accounts. I'll choose that one. So it's just popping up. It's already in DocuSign. It's ready to go and ready to sign. So without having to really try to remember what the process is, try to manipulate, use different things, I'm here in DocuSign. I'll say continue, and I'll just maybe say I'll put my signature here, and I'll say finish. It'll give me the option to send copies to other people. I'll say no, no worries, go, we're good. So that's done there, and I'll move away from it. So now that's been signed, but where did it go? Well, of course, there's a copy in DocuSign. We retain those, and you can download it. But there will also be a copy that's available here within SharePoint in just a little bit. So that's one thing you can do. You can sign it yourself and be set, and you're good. What if I want to send it for a signature? Well, I'll go ahead and send it for a signature myself. I'll go down here to Get Signatures. And because I happen to be logged into Teams as me, I will send it to myself. So it looks like the same process, but it's not. I'm playing two roles now, the sender and the signer. So I'll click Get Signatures with DocuSign. In here, I can see that this is the document that I have here. I'll go ahead and add a recipient. This will be me. And I'll go next. Oh, by the way, I can adjust the message and subject in the email. I'll go ahead and say next here. Now I can put the standard fields that we have on here. Maybe I want to initial on this page. And by the way, we have templates that can streamline this process even further for common documents. I'll say I want a signature, I don't know, here. And maybe I want my name here, and so forth. And I'll just say send. And it is actually sent now out the door. But what's cool is if I'm here, it's going to prompt me to do it because it knows it's me. I'll get rid of it. But if I'm in Teams, I should receive a notice that I'll get a notice here in Teams that I've got an envelope available. Do I have one here? No. So I'm connected here in e-signature, and do I have an envelope coming and ready for me? Yep, this one here is waiting for me. So I'll go ahead and just sign it. I can see here that these are the ones that are waiting for me. You see up here in the manage, you can see all the status of your documents. So I'll go ahead and click sign. And it pops up the signing session. I'll say continue. And you see here, I said to put an initial there. I'll go to the next page, and here is my name here. I'll go ahead and click sign and say finish. Now that document has been sent everywhere, and I've both signed it directly, but I've also signed as two different personas. And it's now been done here. If we refresh this, we'll see that this is showing that this is complete. I can download it. I can do anything that I want. It's a pretty slick system. It's fully integrated. So if I live in Teams, I can receive envelopes. Turns out I can send envelopes as well, and I can manage it entirely from Teams. Or if I'm in SharePoint and I want to stay in SharePoint and send any document that's in SharePoint, it's there. Now, one of the things you might have noticed is this new folder that appeared called DocuSign Documents. And the integration's configured to just put signed copies of documents in there. I'll click into it, and we'll have a couple. One that I did 3 minutes ago where I just signed it directly. And you'll see I put my signature up here. But also, you'll see the one that I did just a few seconds ago, which was a little different. I had a signature up here, or an initial, and a signature down here. But all of them are available right here within SharePoint. You've got access to all your documents that have been signed by DocuSign. I'd like to open it up to any questions at this point. I know I covered a lot of ground there in terms of what's capable just among two different Microsoft products, SharePoint and Teams.
How to connect with us. So bringing this slide back around, and if you have any questions that we don't cover today, or that you want to connect with us either on your account or with your customer, we are here and readily available. So feel free to jot down our emails, and then we will now open it up to Q&A.
Thank you so much, Kelly and Marty. That was excellent. Okay, so we had a question from Sherry, which was answered in chat, but I think it's always good to tease these things out. And her question was, I have a customer looking for the capability of sharing a fillable PDF form in Teams and place multiple signatures on those forms, all from within Teams, using an iPad. There's your challenge. Is this possible?
Tony, do you want to take this one?
So with our DocuSign integration for Teams, you are able to send documents for signature using mobile devices. So for this case, you'll be able to select one or more documents to send. You'll be able to tag them. So you can add the fields for recipients to fill in. You can add fields like signature fields, and then you can send them for signature all within Teams. The recipients will receive a notification if they've got the integration directly within Teams. So they can actually do the filling out portion and perform all their DocuSign tasks without ever leaving Teams.
Thank you. Kelly, do you want to just repeat that just to make sure it came through?
So yeah, we're supported for that exact use case, and it's supported whether you're using a desktop or whether you're an iPad user or on your mobile phone. So yeah, Sherry, we can support your customer's use case for that.
Excellent. Miguel asks, which DocuSign licensing and versions does a customer need to use to take advantage of everything that Marty showed today?
Yeah, so that's so you would need to be licensed on DocuSign e-signature. And as long as you have your DocuSign e-signature license, as well as your Microsoft Teams license, then you're free to go to the app source to install our joint integration. So as long as you have those two pieces of the criteria, then you're free to use it.
Excellent. Is this available in FedRAMP, in GCC moderate or higher?
DocuSign is FedRAMP moderate approved, and our integrations will work in a GCC or GCC high environment.
That is great news. Excellent. Thank you so much. Another question. Mike asks, is the Teams capability only for internal use, or does it work company to company? Does each company have to have external sharing enabled? Any other requirements?
So think of the Teams integration as just an extension of your normal DocuSign usage, which does work company to company. What we're looking to do with the Teams integration is bring the DocuSign notifications that you normally receive via email or via SMS, but deliver them to the apps where end users spend their time in. The idea is they'll get the notifications quicker, they'll complete the agreement process sooner. So DocuSign, as you know, is used for both internal use cases as well as external, and our integration will support that.
That's what's so powerful about this integration. Thank you. I appreciate that. Stefan asks, is there a description about data handling available, as customers often ask, where signed documents are being hosted after signature and if they're being cached somewhere between or during the sign-off process?
We certainly do. And Bill, we can follow up and share that with you after this call. But just for a brief summary is that DocuSign will store completed documents within our data center. For I believe that the period is, we have to check on the period. I think it's 6 months. Thereafter, it'll be purged from our records. Customers can purge completed documents at any they want. It's just a call into either our API. You can either do API or your admin can do it using the admin console. In terms of our integrations, the integrations don't handle any data or store anything, on an intermediate partner server or any other place. Integration just acts as a pass-through between the DocuSign APIs and Teams.
Thank you. Okay. Marissa asks, can you demo the external use case with Power Automate in Teams? Will a user get an alert in Teams once the customer has signed?
We need to double click on the details of this, but we do work seamlessly. You know, we have a Power Automate connector and we have a separate Teams integration. And depending on what you're looking at doing, you've got some options here. You know, if you're using a Teams integration, you'll get a notification, you know, when you need to sign, when the document is completed, or if there's any action that needs to happen. You can also use your Power Automate connector to send notifications, and you can add additional business rules and logic in there. So if you've got a more complex use case, or you need to do something else besides just DocuSign notifications, you can use your Power Automate connector to get that done, and that can be done externally.
Okay, more questions. Does the document only reside in the client tenant, or does it also reside in the DocuSign tenant?
Only resides in the DocuSign tenant unless you have configured workflows post-completion to save it in your client tenant. We don't save anything in the Teams tenant by default using the integration.
Thank you. Follow-up question on FedRAMP. Is the Teams app FedRAMP approved? Because it doesn't call out FedRAMP in the description.
It is. So our Teams integration will work in a Microsoft GCC environment, and our DocuSign service is FedRAMP approved. So you'll be hitting our FedRAMP data center. And again, because we don't store any data, we just act as a pass-through with our FedRAMP compliant.
Carlos asks about how does licensing work? If you give us a sense for how business model works, the licensing model works, and maybe a sense of the price range.
Yeah, certainly. So we have different price plans for our DocuSign e-signature product, and you can purchase those via per user, or it could be per envelope. So we have kind of 3 different plans through our direct commercial team. You also could take advantage of a web plan for those who are kind of starting out, and maybe you want to pilot it with a couple of users. So those are kind of 2 different options that you can take advantage of, and our pricing is available on our website.
Great. And Ken asks, can you clarify when customers would use the Microsoft approval app, which has DocuSign support, versus the DocuSign app directly?
This is a good question. So the approvals app was built by Microsoft, whereas the DocuSign e-signature for Teams integration, which is what Marty showed you, was built here by DocuSign. So there are a little bit of overlapping use cases here, but generally the guidance is that if you have some internal workflows that need internal approval before sending the document off for signature, Approvals is a really great app that'll allow you to do that. So you can collaborate internally, make sure that the document's good to go, and then send it for signature, all using the Approvals app. If you already have your document ready to go and all you need to do is send it for signature, or if you just want to receive notifications or check status, DocuSign e-signature app for Teams is really great there for signing, sending, and status.
Last question. What are the specific differentiators of DocuSign versus the competition, particularly in regards to the Teams integration?
Tony, you want to take that one?
I can take that one. I'd say the beauty of our Teams integration is that it extends DocuSign's capabilities into the apps you're already using. So DocuSign right now is highly differentiated in terms of the advanced features that we offer customers, especially at the enterprise level, for managing documents, creating and dictating advanced business logic, doing things like notary. We've extended the CLM and document generation. And so if you're using more of those advanced use cases, DocuSign is really the platform that can address those better than any other competition can. And our Teams integration extends the capabilities and allows business users and end users to take advantage of that without switching apps or context where they spend most of their time.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate everything you showed today. I mean, first and foremost, thank you for the collaboration with Microsoft and the integration into Microsoft Teams. Thank you, Kelly and Marty and Tony, for presenting and for answering all the questions. Thank you for everyone for joining. I'm looking forward to bringing this value to all of the Microsoft Teams customers.